The following observations are for educational and entertainment purposes only. Any similarity between the people described and you is purely unintentional. But if your feelings are hurt, feel free to change the way you've chosen to live your life of faith. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Mini Guitar Society. Now, some of you may be wondering how a podcast about guitars and songwriting and gear reviews and things could throw in a little bit of medical information from time to time and just a slight sprinkling of religious content every now and again. What that might have to do with some of the internet's darkest corners. Well, the comment sections. Well, here's the thing. Before I ever met my first YouTube troll, my first internet critic, my first YouTube certified expert on things that I've spent more time with than them, I spent years in the church ministry. And as it turns out, nothing really prepares you for internet trolls, like working in the church. When I first started posting content in June 2024, I didn't think anyone was going to see it. But one of the things that I wasn't really prepared for is that not only would people see it, but they would hate watch, seemingly. And I was surprised by the comments, the expertise that existed, the condescension, and the drive-by criticism. The theological certainty that people had about my string choices, or the scale length, or basically any opinion that I might express. I was stunned. You used the wrong amp, you used the wrong guitar, you used the wrong picks, you used the wrong strings, you used the wrong brand. You're fat. Like I was surprised. And I'll be honest with you, it really bothered me when they said I picked the wrong strings. But then it hit me. I know these people. I've known these people all my life. They're the same people that come into my office during a weekday unannounced with a report prepared about why we shouldn't sing a particular song anymore. Or the same people that have come in and said, I know you said this on Sunday and I disagree with you. And I've had to literally go to the videotape and rewind what I said and listen to that entire sermon with them just to say, I didn't hear me say that. And then be accused of somehow altering the tape. The internet didn't create this personality. It just gave them a comment section. Now, some would say to just go ahead and turn off the comment section or don't read the comments, as if I could possibly do that. But here is where the lessons of the church really come in handy, and I'd like to share those with you if you'd like to give them a listen. You see, church life taught me one of the most important things about people. And it's not just that people have opinions. It's that people have opinions and they think that God shares their opinions. In the church, I learned how to listen to those opinions politely, nod thoughtfully, and not let my eye twitch when people say things like, we really need to get back to the real music, the hymns that Jesus sang. Fast forward to YouTube, and it's the same thing. Real guitar players don't use modelers. They use tube amps. You're not actually playing the blues if you haven't lived the blues. The guitars you play are toys. They're not real guitars. It's a different context, but it's the same confidence. You see, working in the church trained me to hear the passion behind the complaint, even when the words of the complaint may hit particularly hard. You see, most people, they just want to be heard. And the people that are shouting, the ones that are typing in all caps, they're usually the ones that need to be heard the most, or at least feel the most ignored. In the church and on the web. And to dismiss that, well, that's the real danger of working with people in the pews as well as working with some of the people that are so frustrated on the internet. It's not what they say, it's what they pull out of you. That little voice that sometimes screams in my own head that says, oh yeah, well, I'll show you. Well, here's the pastoral truth. Not every argument deserves a sermon. Sometimes it deserves a prayer, or silence, or a hearing. You see, back in the church, I learned one of the great ways that you lose is to try to win by volume. You win by staying grounded, by staying tied to what the foundation is. Online, sometimes that means letting go of having the last word. You see, there's a power in silence, or at least logging off before you say something that you're going to regret and have to apologize for later. Because here's the strangest part. Sometimes those trolls, they're right. Sometimes they point out something that I missed, like a bad mix or problems with the volume, or the times that I keep hitting the microphone, or the times when I didn't give a guitar a fair shake, or when I spent the whole time complaining about a guitar instead of looking for a redeeming quality. Not really something you want to do in a parishioner. Not really something you want to do in a hobby. You have to swallow your pride long enough to listen without defensiveness. And that way you can grow and you can get better. You can literally practice what I've sometimes been called to preach. And that's something that ministry showed me too. Grace doesn't always show up in polite packaging. So when I see a harsh comment now, I usually stop and try to remember to ask, is this person attacking me, or are they handing me something useful in a really unpleasant box? You see, the truth of the matter is, the heart of both the church and online as communities is that people are people. And we crave a connection to each other. We crave being seen, being heard, being right, being valued. And sometimes that shows up as encouragement. But sometimes it shows up as criticism. And sometimes it shows up by a guy with a very strange name telling you that your Telecaster sounds like an ice pick. But underneath, all we're trying to do is make music in the midst of noise. We're trying to find meaning and melody in the midst of a cacophony. All we're trying to do is make a joyful noise. To share our feelings, to share our thoughts, to share who we are, and maybe make a connection out there. So who am I to judge? So yeah, working in the church prepared me for internet trolls. It taught me patience and empathy, and most importantly, how to laugh at the absurd. It taught me to look for human beings behind each and every harsh word, and maybe most of all, what it taught me is that you can't control the comments, but you can control the content, and you can control your response. So the next time someone accuses me of being a shill, or of trying to sell toys, or trying to pass off these guitars as real, the next time someone tells me one of my original songs is ruining music, I have to remember to say in a very Southern way, and in a very theological way, and in a way that I honestly mean it, well, bless their heart, because I'm just going to keep playing. Even when my hands are wonky. And I can't play things that are complicated. Please, comment, subscribe, like, keep playing. Thank you for joining me this evening in the Mini Guitar Society. If you'll forgive me, God bless.